111. Be self-existent. The egoism of an entity should be accepted fully, not partially. A partial entity is the representative of a whole entity. The main source of power is God, who is a hidden entity. The best names express the best ideas. Different names and appearances express different ideas. An entity takes two shapes into forms, that is, before and after its death. Whatever belonged to a partial entity also belongs to a whole entity. An entity discourse is the honest and positive mental attitude formed within itself. As such, it is a discoverer, it invents, so it is an inventor, and it controls, as such it is the controller. An entity is sacred. An entity takes the shape of a body on the basis of its inherited religion. There are three stages of a cheerful and periodical entity: awakened, dreaming and sleeping. Wise realize the cause of objects, the supreme entity. Whenever an entity feels the scarcity of a universalism, it meditates itself with the knowledge of God. An entity is like a tree, heart of which is its branch and its actions are like its fruits. An entity is not what it thinks about itself, but it is what it thinks. The consciousness about a matter named entity makes its feelings frosted. The entity which is produced and perished cannot be a super-entity. The power of God is hidden in the individualities of the creature. There are three kinds of entities: supernatural, practical and reflectable. All the creatures are conscious about its own entities. Hundreds of the world remain hidden within an entity. An entity is formed as soon as it is thrown to the world. Being combined with the materials of the world, an entity is formed and becomes comparable, and then it exists with its own elements. Naturally, a rootless floating entity forgets its basic qualities and liberty and does not feel a sense of sin even after participating in immoral acts. Due to periodical change of position, sometimes the inner views about originality and purity realizes about its helpless condition. It feels anxiety, mental tension and a fear from death. Then entity feels universalism related with the synthesis of the materials of the world. The consciousness of human conscience, invitation of consciousness and the quality of a firm determination show the way to the pure and basic entity. The place and time-based biological consciousness of human beings, after analyzing the probabilities of life, meaningfully establishes the basic existence after position of the different feeling and realities of the world in a worldly practical shape. In such cases, the elements of knowledge are the balanced structural knowledge through realization by comparison, experience, farsightedness and the earlier structural knowledge acquired by past ideas, and above all the knowledge of different matters and objects. Me and everyone are partial entities in a process, which are defensive, self-expressing or psychophysic attitudes. We are attaining a continuous change depending on places and times, which is nothing but a reciprocal expression of a regular concentrated mental state of the whole and neutral entity. Acquire such a mental state that you are the way, truth and life in a whole entity. If you judge judiciously, then your egoism will go away. You should think that you can do many honest deeds. A person or an object is nothing but flow of some occurrences. Me does not mean an entity but a pronoun only. Existence and non-existence of an entity make no difference. Likely you can remain free if you keep yourself free from the idea that you are forwarding or retarding. Avoid the idea of differentiation between existence and non-existence, then you will attain a permanent life. Make yourself free from egoism and then you will prosper. You cannot exactly what you want to be and what you decide to be. And sometimes you are such what you don't like to be and you don't want to do. You were born before you have seen the world. You could not select your lifestyle, you had to go forward with what you had. You are the main factor. Everything done by you and everything around you are there as you are there. It does not matter what will exist or not exist after your non-existence. A center named egoism must be directly there in an entity in the thoughtful human activities. Realization of a new era or a new entity is possible due to displacement of the position of time-based feelings in the centrifugal point of a specific faith in your thoughts and consciousness with a complementary policy of accepting and rejecting of your thoughts and actions. An entity is ever-changing as a whole. It is also having a flowing tendency subject to evolution. The theories of a soul God, Universalism of God and all other theories like that express the same ideology. The philosophy of oneness is the Universalism of God. The progress of knowledge about God is contrasted with the naturalism and multiple godism. The common people unable to think deeply believe in dualism. A soul is an individual entity according to the ideology of monism. Oneness is the straight way to religion. According to the soul or universal theory, a soul is imperishable. According to Avictism, a soul is merged and perished with the body. According to the Buddhists, there is nothing like a soul. Souls are differentiated by their qualities and disparities. As the sun does not have days or nights, a soul does not have any fascination or salvation. Although a physical change occurs to personal intellect, but a soul is never changeable by anything else. A soul is purified by its own knowledge, sometimes it is purified due to a change of place or some reforms. A soul is only a controller. Always, we are to improve our souls. The definitions of soul, life, mind, consciousnesses etc. are almost synonymous. Soul means God, body, mind, care, intelligence and conduct. So long a man remains alive, his soul and life remain related with each other. After the death of creature, existence of its life does not exist, but its soul remains existing. The processor controlling of the sense organs of a soul is a life. Likely mind, consciousness and the sense organs are also controlled by intelligence. A soul does not move either in this world of sins and virtues and in the world hereafter of heavens and hells. Dream, sleep, awake, senseless etc. are the different states of a soul. Immortality of soul is an accepted idea of moral consciousness. A body is perishable but a soul is not. It is a mistake of the ideology of evolution that the body is itself a soul. Everybody wants the full liberty of the souls. A soul is more pure than any place, direction and time. Speaking, seeing and hearing, that is, the sense organs are the reflection of souls. As the warmth of water is the shadow and reflection of fire. A soul is having no sense of happiness or unhappiness. A soul is eternal, imperishable, pure soul, having no representative, wise, present everywhere, free from any pain, self-expressible, root of all occurrences, alone, uncovered and above all qualification and disqualifications. There is a similarity between a soul and a supreme soul. Our souls are positioned in our bodies where numerals, times and places are also there, as such equal in nature. Sense organs are superior to a body, a mind is superior to the sense organs, again intelligence is superior to mind, and what is superior to intelligence is the soul. A supreme soul is a supreme, spiritual, excellence. As wealth does not come as soon as it is called. An understanding about soul does not come through a process of debate or justification. Everything is positioned with its own characteristics. Through practical knowledge, sense organs and thinking, a mystery can be uncovered. The basic theory of everything is permanent and automatic. One can attain a theoretical knowledge after serious efforts. There is no sense organ to feel the absolute cause. Incompleteness of matters keep our feelings insensitive. So having a weak power of observation and a weak intellect can't understand or feel the mysteries of nature. As an atom is a very fine object, it can't be felt by sense organs, it is insensible. But we can't deny its existence. A form has independent entity. When a man wants to know the secrets of nature with the help of knowledge, he possesses a limitation of infinite and eternity. Knowledge about the absolute power can't be attained with the help of sense organs. Because it is not an inherent entity. Soul or consciousness is synonymous. Knowledge about God can't be attained by scholarship. The material knowledge of a material is the theoretical knowledge about a material, which is possible only with the mercy of God. There are their main power of God: will power, power of knowledge and power of actions. The three powers of God are spiritual power, power of illusion and biological power. There are three kinds of spiritual power: honest or compromising, conscious and delight. Honesty is the entity or existence of God. Spiritual cognition means knowledge. Pleasure means the supreme pleasure. Spiritual cognition or the original power is God's inner power and illusion power is his outer power. And biological or instance power is his conscious power. These are the three parts of eternal power. Difference between God and the creature are like that between a shelter and sheltered. As a pitcher is made of soil, this world is made of God. Although God has taken the shape of the world with the help of his unimaginable power, he remains unchanged. So the world is neither any vague nor false. But it is not imperishable but is a perishable entity. We can't approach God through anybody else. We are to go nearer to him and we are to be closer with him with our own efforts. Although it is hard and time-barred, yet it is the only way. As God is normally not serious about anything, we are so much interested and anxious to meet him. People deceive the kind gods by lying but they present valuable gifts to the violent gods. Had the God would respond to us very easily they would have been devalued by us and our desires to them and curiosity for them would have been decreased. In fact the man who is loved by God, God gives him wisdom, knowledge, education and pleasure. Even if you are the worst sinner yet you can cross the sea of sins boarding on the boat of knowledge. As a flaming fire burns wood into ashes, the fire of knowledge burns all mischievous acts into ashes. God is very near to us, yet we feel that he is far away. Everybody remembers God during his difficulties. Then they call God again and again. Becomes anxious to get his mercy. But during their happy moments, such anxiety is not found in them. They do not think about God during their happy moments. At that time, they do not bother for God. They get the blessings of God, who remember him during their happy and pleasant moments, and become anxious to get him closer. Human beings search for God, here and there like a mad. But they don't know that God is there in themselves. As scent remains in a flower, God also remains within men themselves. It is impossible to express the spiritual matters verbally or to understand it without divine knowledge. Don't want to know the nature of knowledge to the person who has acquired knowledge from self-analysis. Because this knowledge of self-realization can be felt but can't be explained. As a dumb can understand the taste of sweet but can't express it in words to others, the delight of being closer to God and getting pleasure of acquiring full-fledged knowledge about him can't be explained to others. As the swans can drink milk separating it from water, a wise saint can keep himself free from the fascination of the world and can see God. A saint can separate the knowledge about God from the worldly illusions, affections and fascination and gets the pleasure of uttering the names of God. Knowledge without devotion is incomplete. The religious formalities like uttering the names of God again and again, worshipping him, self-controlling, observation of various religious rites, taking bath etc. are all valueless. God is not available in these formalities. God is the power which is out of our knowledge and thoughts. The main thing God is reciprocal and neutral. God cannot be defined. But in this way, he has become a limited entity. God is an independent universal entity. The source of the highest and universal state is God. God is the source of all peace, contentment, power, honor and all other positive matters. The substance of an object is unknown to us, likely soul and God are unknown to human beings. Self-consciousness is an independent religion. Human beings have made God out of their own imaginations. Human beings create God according to their own reflections. The God within your heart is present in the heart of all. You find in others what is there within yourself. Somebody can't be blamed if he names an idea about God according to his mental status and power. We are limited to our structure and nature. As such it is quite natural that we shall think about God like ourselves. God is like a man's judgment and nature. Human beings thinks about God like his Protestant in front of him. God is not like human beings and human beings are not like God. And this idea controls human behavior. God is present in the whole of our practical lives. Neither the entity nor the soul of the world can't be proved. All the supernatural ideas are vague. Soul and Supreme Soul is unknown to us. The undivided world is reflected in our sense organs as an inanimate object, as a creature in our intelligence, and as God in our souls. An inanimate object is manifested by life, and life is manifested by consciousness. God and nature is identical. God is the supreme entity, mind is a conscious entity, and an inanimate object is an extended entity. God is the controller and the creatures are controlled by him. God, mind, inanimate objects are relative. God and mind have no form, inanimate objects has form. As a supreme entity, God is supernatural and is present everywhere. The combined power of an inanimate object and consciousness expressing itself, is the supreme entity. God means a liaison among thoughts, actions, ideologies and practice. God is a sacred and immortal entity or consciousness. God is not explainable, self-created, self-controlled, pure and divisible, a sole entity and self-sufficient. Like the characteristics, the knowledge of God is also indescribable. It is useless to worry, everything is perishable, as such God is everything. God is the source of energy, courage, patience, power, intelligence, creation, existence and maintenance. Allah is the creator of everything in the universe. There is nothing which has not been created by him and has come to existence automatically. Existence and durability of everything depend on him. He looks after everybody and everything. He protects and destroys whomsoever he likes. He is existing from the very beginning and will remain for eternity. He is immortal and universal. He is unperishable. He is a single and sole entity. Everybody is dependent on him. He is not dependent on anybody. He is almighty. Nobody can change his will and decision. He is neither having parents nor children. He does not have wife, children, brother and sisters, relatives, predecessors or successors. He is having no co-sharer in any matter. There is no co-sharer or partner in his entity, qualities, rights and jurisdiction. He is existing independently. He need not depend on anybody's help regarding his rights, jurisdiction, entity and qualities. Nothing is impossible for him. There is nothing which is beyond his power. He is above all kinds of obligations, inabilities and faults. He is the source of all well-beings. All the holy names and best qualities are only for him. Sleep or dodge can't touch him. He is sacred and above all faults. He is the only king or ruler of the whole universe. He is the source of all authorities. Only his authority is there in the universe. He don't depend on anybody regarding his authority and lordship. Nobody except him can hold the authority and lordship of the whole universe. He does whatever he likes and nobody is there to ask for his explanation. He is the actual source and center of all powers. All other powers are negligible to him. There is nobody in the whole universe who can take any step against him or can breathe against his will. He may be a man, or any other powerful creature. The largest planet of universe or any seen or unseen power, howsoever powerful it may be, are nothing in front of the unlimited supernatural power of Allah. He is always present everywhere. God sees and observes everything. He sees everything, it may be underground or anywhere in the unlimited sky. He knows about everything of the future. He knows the inner feelings, the hidden thoughts, emotions of mankind and all the mysteries of the world. He is nearer to everybody than the nerves of his shoulder. He is having the accurate knowledge about everything of the past and the future. He knows about every fall of leaves and every seed hidden underground. Life and death of every creature is controlled by him. He gives life or death to anybody he likes. Nobody can protect him whom he wants to kill and nobody can kill him whom he wants to keep alive. He is the sole proprietor of all assets. Nobody can give anything from these assets to him whom he wants to deprive. Nobody can deprive him whom he wants to give something. Giving children to somebody is fully under his jurisdiction. He gives a son, a daughter or both of them to whomsoever he likes. Again he deprives from both whosoever he wants. Nobody has any power to change his decision. Any loss or profit is under his sole discretion. Nobody can stop it if he wants to incur loss or fall in any danger to somebody. And nobody can harm or make anything against anybody if he wants to do something good for somebody. In fact, nobody except Allah can harm or do anything good for somebody. Only He is the provider of food to everybody. The key to food store is only in His hand. Only He is fully aware of all His activities. He gives food to all. Making more or less regarding fooding and earning is also under His discretion. Everybody will get everything as allotted by Him. Nobody has any right to increase or decrease it. He is too justified. He is wise and judicious. He is the accurate decision maker. He does not deprive anybody from his due and He does not oppress anybody. A miscreant or an honest man are not equal to Him. He gives reward or punishment to everybody according to his deeds. He does not punish anybody more than his fault and does not deprive anybody from the proper reward for his good deed. He takes his every decision according to His full-fledged knowledge, judiciousness and justice. He loves His creatures too much. He forgives the sins of human beings. He forgives them who repent for their sins. He always blesses His creatures with His mercy. The believers in Allah should not be frustrated about His mercy and forgiveness. He is the only entity whom one can love. We should satisfy Him only. To love anybody except Him should be for the sake of Him only. Love for Him will control love for anybody else. Only He deserves our gratitude. He has the sole authority to receive all worships, mastering and obedience. Except Him nobody deserves the right of receiving obedience or gratitude. We should stand cautiously in front of Him only. We should bow down in front of Him only. We should want anything only from Him. We should express our fervent prayers to Him only. It is His sole authority that man will obey Him, and will abide by the laws framed by Him, and will fully abide by the rules and regulations prescribed by Him. He has the sole authority to determine what is accessible and forbidden. Nobody has the slightest right in this regard. Only He is to be feared. We are to expect from and depend on Him only. We should ask for help in any matter to Him only. We should depend on Him as the only authority of desire fulfiller, as our rescuer, guardian and helper, and regarding all matters. We should pray to Him only to show us the right path. He can only to show us the right path. Nobody can misguide him who is guided by Him, and nobody can guide him whom He does not show the right path. The loud cries out of weakness recognizes the existence of God. It is hard to believe in the existence of God, but it is harder to disbelieve it. You may believe in God after seeing the astonishing actions of the nature, but you must believe by finding the abundance of liveliness in human beings. He is the only authority who has poured juice in some fruits, made some fruit with a large seed, made another hard like a stone, made some other too sour, again some vegetables bitter. He has made some human being like a heartless beast, again He has made somebody else too kind-hearted. He who in what occurs everything is called God. The universe is full of illusions given by God, and in everything He expresses His glory. Wish for present plural read again repeat is desire of God also. Obedience to God means obedience to truth, justice and knowledge. Characteristic of the Creator is like a circle, center of which is everywhere and its circumference is nowhere. God controls every activity of every creature. God is the intelligence of an intelligent and courage of a courageous person. The power which is giving energy to the whole world through the sun, the moon and fire, is God Himself. He is present within the heart and around all creatures. He is static as well as dynamic all the time. He is too much sophisticated, as such His presence can't be felt. Anything is created as soon as God wishes so, it is not delayed for a moment even. God is self-sufficient, He knows everything, He is not given birth by anybody, and He does everything by Himself. A self-sufficient entity can never be non-existing, subject to evolution or dependent on others. He who enjoys himself, plays with himself and becomes delighted with himself, is an emperor thrown in his independent heart. An emperor is fully independent, above him there is no master. The right of God on the world is His ruling, that is the right to create the world. our resources that rule such right is to develop our own countries. Due to ignorance, general people don't realize the perceived facts but assume lies as truths. Human beings follow God fully. God favors mankind as they pray to Him. Assumption about God differs due to difference of prayers. God is root of everything. In order to make known the nature of such support, the Prophet have described creation, destruction, space maintenance, history, words of Allah, restraint, salvation and the reality of shelter as sacred knowledge, function of meaning and encounter. Wise can realize the truth. Evil has no distinct presence. True is the only nature which is expressed in different appearances. A truth can be seemed as evil due to change of a particular situation. True cannot be proved by reasoning. Many people cannot understand a true clearly even after listening and thinking over and over. A specialized or analyzed science can perfectly prove a pure truth. One can understand the truth through deep interest, integrity, concentration and knowledge of partial and universal. Implementation of honesty by an entity is greatness of an entity. It is honesty which establishes itself at its own way. Universal truth can be imagined, unseen and unknown to many. It is not possible to feel or understand truth with the help of sense organs or intelligence. So the knowledge of truth depends on some practical instance. Due to lack of proper knowledge, people can't differentiate between natural and supernatural truths. Perfect knowledge is required to understand something perfectly. Due to our insufficient sense of understanding, we can't realize the absolute truth. A truth appears to be different in different occasions due to its expression by different languages, words and writers or orator. A truth appears to be the same to us if we try to understand it with a neutral sense of understanding. We can't imagine about perfect truth or ultimate independent matter due to limitation of our power of understanding. All of us should aim at acquiring a perfect and full-fledged truth. The man having a mind free from any fascination, slavery of habits and clean, can realize perfect truth. Truth is one and indifferent. A truth and religion are the same and identical. In fact, truth is one.